Hello and welcome to this video series illustrating my transformation from classic ERP architect to full AI fluency. Today, I would like to walk you through SAP's new AI target architecture as presented at the SAP Sapphire 2026. It is important to understand the architecture, at least on a high level, because every area we need to skill up in to reach AI fluency in the SAP ecosystem can be derived from it. So maybe you have watched the SAP Sapphire keynote as well. If not, I would really recommend you to do so, because besides the hard facts and some background information I will present you today, there is so much more you can read between the lines when listening to Christian Klein and the others on stage. For me, it seemed obvious that SAP is now very well aware of that they need to deliver. And that also reflects in the new architecture. In previous presentations, AI always looked like the big but still optional add-on on top. Now, since Sapphire, the autonomous enterprise is really in the center of the focus, and the classic SAP landscape became something to be integrated into that new vision. That is a big paradigm shift. What you see in the graphic is not a technical architecture, but a logical one. So the autonomous suite is not a single new product, it is more a layer spanning several platforms. But let us start at the top. Joule, or Joule Work, to be more precise, is the new cross-application interaction layer. It is your Claude co-work for the business world. With a so-called live kit, customers will be able to communicate with it via natural language. That matches with Christian Klein's announcement from January this year, where he said, the future will be for sure that you are not typing any data information into an SAP system. You can instead ask certain analytical questions with your voice. I'm still not sure how that is supposed to work with an open office environment, but for remote work that can really be a good way forward. And if we think mid or long term, then maybe conversational AI will make classic open offices obsolete at some point. If I don't need my monitor and keyboard anymore, then why have my personal desk in an office at all, right? Then, coming back to the SAP Autonomous Suite, we have the sub-autonomous domains on the left. We have the 5 domains representing respective business areas: finance, spend, supply chain management, human capital management, and customer experience. Each of these domains comprises several domain-specific assistants. In the area of customer experience, as an example, you have a sales assistant, a merchandising assistant, and so on. These assistants coordinate specialized agents, which will then autonomously execute tasks. If you work in sales, then one of these assistants is your digital counterpart, if you will. Besides these 5 domains, there is another one called Industry AI. If you're familiar with the classic SAP solutions, you know the IS module, the Industry Solutions. This is the AI twin. Christian Klein announced that a €100 million fund will be launched for SAP partners to help customers deploy SAP-built AI assistants and agents. I would not be surprised if a lot of the money will flow into this industry AI domain. He also said that this fund is to support partners who build new agents, and that could be the box in the middle of this diagram. By the way, this going into companies to understand the business better is not new. It is how SAP started back in the 1970s when Hasso Plattner and Dietmar Hopp digitalized the first business processes. Now we are in another pioneer phase. We are trying to build a new autonomous system from scratch, and it makes perfect sense that we tackle this in a similar way. And not just SAP works like that. Only a few days ago, Anthropic has also announced that they are building a new AI service company which will work with mid-sized companies across sectors to bring Claude into their most important operations. So let's see if this working closer to the customer becomes a general trend. Then we have 2 endorsed third-party agents, Claude from Anthropic and NVIDIA's NemoClaw. NemoClaw is an enhanced and more secure OpenClaw. Everyone has been following the news and heard about the security concerns regarding OpenClaw. So NemoClaw is the logical answer if we want to build enterprise-grade agentic AI. Claude from Anthropic is a tool everyone should already know. But some might now ask, with the domain assistants and the partner agents, aren't the third-party agents redundant? And although that topic was not covered in detail, I will give you my take on that. First of all, these agents work on the desktop side, while the others work on BTP. A BTP agent cannot grab a file from your desktop. The desktop agent cannot just change an SAP table with a new API policy in place. So they serve different purposes. The desktop agent can serve as an extended workbench for the BTP-based agents, and the desktop agent, which needs SAP access only for specific tasks, can trigger them by calling BTP-based agents. Secondly, a lot of customers have already started with local agents. Not endorsing any tool here would effectively mean SAP cuts off existing solutions completely. So SAP allows the access, but only in a governed manner. That is the agent gateway you see in the diagram. Third argument, flexibility. Every vendor is now building its agents in their respective ecosystems. And at some point you want them to communicate across these ecosystems. So you have to enable interoperability via MCP or agent-to-agent communication. Otherwise your ecosystem becomes a desert island. We are coming to the lower part, which is the SAP Business AI platform. Technically, that is SAP BTP plus X. On the left, you see that Joule Studio is the single tool to be used for building agents. Claude Code and Cursor are coding agents supporting the Pro Code development. The N8N integration was kind of a surprise for me. I really appreciate that SAP opens its ecosystem now more and more for globally established tools and standards. At the same time, this is a big question mark. If N8N is now available for workflow automation, what is the role of SAP Build Process Automation? Will N8N become the successor, or is it complementary? And if it is complementary, what role will each of these tools play? That point definitely needs more clarification, and it is something to watch if you already use SAP Build Process Automation productively. In the box in the middle, we see where the context comes from. The SAP Knowledge Graph for the semantics, SAP BDC for the data. SAP Knowledge Graph is a topic big enough to make a separate video about that. But it is neither new nor do we need to care too much about it, because technically we cannot yet feed it directly with customer data. And it is also exclusively consumed by Joule, so also from that side we only have indirect access. SAP BDC in the core is SAP Datasphere extended by several tools and concepts. If you followed the news within the last weeks, you have heard about the acquisitions. Databricks was already announced last year, now Dremio and Reltio. The idea is to create one big data platform to aggregate data cross-vendor and cross-system for AI to consume. And I know this is an oversimplified description. Then we have the SAP and non-SAP foundation models. Actually, these are no additional components, but the models all the agents run on. Not just from the top layer, also Claude Code and Cursor in the build box. The important part here is the SAP and Prior Labs logo representing SAP's own foundation models. Not LLMs, but tabular AI models. If you're interested, I wrote an article about that, which I will link under this video. As a summary, we can say that SAP gives you access to their own tabular AI models, SAP Rapid 1 and SAP Rapid 1.5, plus to the leading tabular AI models from Prior Labs, a company SAP has just recently acquired. Plus all the LLMs from the providers we know from our private lives, Anthropic, OpenAI, Mistral, you name it. And you can either consume these models indirectly via Joule or other out-of-the-box AI tools, or you include them into your custom developments. Last but not least, we have the govern box. This is where the advantage of using SAP products arises. Of course, you can deploy your agent somewhere and make it work with, let's say, a GPT model from OpenAI. But when you combine it with business data, who manages roles, access, security, and so on? That is the part where the indirect consumption of the model via the SAP Generative AI Hub makes more sense and really brings you additional value. But of course also additional costs, because they work as a reseller for the AI foundation model providers. Alright, that's it for the moment. I hope that my video was useful for you. If you like it or want to share your own thoughts on the new AI architecture, just leave me a comment. And of course, if you're an AI learner like me, rooted in the SAP ecosystem, then please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow my transformation journey.